I want to move over from college football to college basketball. Andrew, I will fully admit I have not fully paid attention to basketball. Right before we recorded this podcast, I watched my first non-Wisconsin basketball game from start to finish just a few minutes ago, Illinois-Purdue. So for us football fans that are now transitioning to college basketball, to keep that fandom going, or we just love a specific college team, why don't you update us on what's going on compared to the preseason polls and now, and some of the crazy things that have happened so far?
Absolutely, yeah. There's been a lot that has happened. There's been a lot of shockers that we never could have predicted at the start of the season. Teams that were picked in the bottom half of their conference, playing like top level talent in the nation so far, and some teams that we thought would be national championship contenders just not really showing up in the early parts of the season. And some of these contenders were heavily based in transfers this year. And these teams that are more transfers than they are recruited players and developed players seem to have been struggling so far at this point in the year. Some big names to really mention with this is Arkansas, Oregon, Maryland, Texas. A lot of these teams, if you just look at their roster, they're incredibly talented. Take Texas, for example. I believe they have close to 7 to 9 players on that roster who last season or in the last 2 seasons all were averaging over 10 points per game. That's insane for most teams. But a lot of these teams were struggling to really get chemistry and role allocation down for this year. And teams that had that many transfers seem to be struggling. The two bright teams with transfers that we've seen so far have been Texas Tech and Kentucky. I don't really have a great answer as to why Kentucky hasn't had some of these similar issues. But Texas Tech, probably the easy answer would just be it's their identity being defensive basketball. It's okay when there's offensive lulls in their game because they won't let the other team score either. So a lot of that is just kudos to Coach Mark Adams and finding guys who will put the clamps down on that end of the floor. But yeah, a lot of these teams who heavily relied on transfers have quickly fallen or completely dropped out of the AP top 25 since the first week of the year.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear from us and what you want us to talk about going forward. And as always, remember to embrace the grind.